Welcome back, YouTubers, to my channel of Everyday Life of Aspie. If you're new to my channel, I welcome you all. My name is AspieAnswersAll. I basically am one of the many people out there that's spreading mental health awareness versus just sharing my life stories and experiences based on my everyday life encounterships of my struggles, my joys and everything else of my Asperger's syndrome versus the OCD and the like of what I suffer from that comes with my Asperger's syndrome. Welcome back to the LBs. I'm just hoping that at this moment of time, while we've been, connecting and all that, that most of these videos has been an inspiration, motivation, encouragement, and an enlightenment to you to maybe, I don't know, as I said before, share the videos or maybe some of the ideas that I've come about sharing about, to come forward and actually take a stand and maybe share your life stories. This includes with the newbies that I'm welcoming with open arms, just to be there for you and not to put you down. I'm here to motivate, educate, and basically support people. I'm not here to tear people down. As many people know me by now, I'm basically all about, being all up and away we go with the positives, because we shouldn't have to focus on all these negativities that gets thrown at us, even though we know there is a lot of, people that will tend to tear us down one way or another. Right, and all for the do, basically, in the last few pieces, if you've been following me, I've been doing the epileptic series, and now, basically, I felt close to my heart to share something with you all, even though I forgot to add this in with one of my mental health awareness series, but I'll address it now, even though some of it was going to be addressed in the mental health awareness week. But in all further ado, I humbly apologise if this is going to be a bit too early or not, but this is what I roll at the moment. Just thought, to myself as I was contemplating on an idea of what am I going to share with the audience, even though I know that many people may think really highly about me as, being a attention seeker versus whatever you may want to label me as at this point of time. By all means, you're entitled for your opinions, basically, even if you don't know me in the flesh, even though you only see me here on the 4-square screen right now. And all for the do though, today I felt to talk to you about basically in this mental health awareness series, basically based on mental health and self-love, based on my depression versus anxiety and everything else, and how I coped with it, and maybe a little bit more of my life story about it, even though you may have heard some parts of it but not all of it, because I wasn't sure to disclose everything that I felt in my heart to share with you all, based on the way of maybe how people may think or come across to me and point the finger or what have you at me, trying to take it in, with some people out in the real world, that likes to mock me, tear me down and everything, basically, because at this point of time, I know there's a lot of insecure, jealous people out there, but that's their problem, not mine. Right, as you know, basically, what I've learned now is after all years of being clinically diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome, depression, OCD, my anxiety levels versus whatever else I've been sharing with you a lot, is that I'm learning to love myself and accept what is and what is to come. Even though it has been a long journey right now of my self-discovery, trying to find out who the real me was or is at that time when I was clinically diagnosed. Even though now and again I felt that, we all needed to fit in, we needed to feel loved, appreciated, wanted, and the like. I am now trying to tell myself now is the time to stop making excuses for myself and others that may come on my path that knocks me for six and just try to tear me down and, not pick me up again and just keep tearing me down, even though I know for a fact that I've learned that there will be many people that will tear you down and may not want to support your journey, whatever you're going through, regardless of it is. It's a matter of discerning and being wise enough to know who's there and who's not. I thought now is the time to start making the excuses of all these negative thoughts that I used to have, of all these suicidal thoughts that led to up to now, basically, of these dark thoughts about myself, of these sweet nothings, you're not good enough, you're not beautiful, you're not intelligent, and all these opposite effects that I've been sharing with you all at that time when I was, before I was clinically diagnosed with AS and depression. I was real bad, but more on the piece soon. I thought to myself, now is the time also to say the goodbyes to these sweet nothings and sweet lies of what's been fed in my mind and whatnot. I thought to myself, basically, I can rise above it all, so can you. So this is why I'm here to share my life stories, experiences and all that. So hopefully this can be a motivator, encouragement, enlightenment to you all, so that hopefully maybe that it can help you in a way that's, you know, you can acknowledge with me or what have you, that yes, you're right, Kieran. We are better than our mental health disorders, be it depression, anxiety and the like. We can go far in our lives. We have all faced in our times so much pain, misery, and more by feeling that we don't feel loved, wanted. You feel like that, you know, we are missed out by the rest of the crowd. Why is this? We tend to question ourselves. We start questioning and doubting, you know, all this in our darkest moments. I was one of them. I was thinking so much to the point, am I worth it, you know, and all this. But I know now I am worth more than I am. Am I right with you a lot? Did you feel the same way? As I said, we need to stop at least thinking this way, because it's quite the opposite. We are loved. We are wanted. It's just a matter of finding the right social circle maybe, or the right particular someone if we were looking for a particular, you know, person to date or have a relationship with. Yet this will also determine how we think, act and, you know, behave towards others, as well as maybe how we feel about it in ourselves or so. I want to share briefly with you all about these thoughts that I have been thinking as a supporter, mentor, guidance, or what have you, and to let you know you're not alone on your journey, regardless of where you're at this stage of your journey. Be it, you know, some days you just don't want to get out of bed and, you know, you don't want to face the world. That's fine, you know, it's okay to do nothing once in a while. You know, even if you are clinically depressed, you know, there are help out there, and like there are ways that we can motivate ourselves and to get up and go again. We all deserve, however, to be loved, happy, at peace in ourselves and at peace with others. You know, now I'm going to be hopefully sharing a bit more in more detail about my life story with depression, anxiety and all this in this piece, even though it's supposed to be addressed just self-love and depression, but I humbly apologize if I'm going to waffle on. But then I'm going to also talk about some coping strategies maybe at the end of this piece of my video, hopefully to support you all, and hopefully maybe this will be some way of an encouragement to you all. How to with this? My depression stemmed probably really early, basically when, I don't know, I think maybe when I was in my early teens, 11, 12, basically my depression started showing, you know, like any young teen trying to fit in, rebel against their parents and all that, trying to get their own way with their parents, you know, by, well, not bribing as such, but just trying to please my parents regardless of what it may be. Like, also during that year of when I was about 12 or 13, basically, I was, how to word this nicely, I was pretty much like, you know, at that stage, down and out, you know, thinking there were voices when there were not. Apparently, as I got told by the doctors, I would have probably suffered from psychosis, you know, hearing voices inside my head, you know, the sweet nothings, you know, when it's not even there, you know, even though it was a scary thought at that time because, you know, being that young teen trying to blend in, I tried everything in my willpower to fit in and blend in, to feel accepted and all that by any, you know, any group, clique, you name it. Also, basically, during my late teens, however, depression stemmed again. Okay, there was different forms of depression at the time, and like after self-diagnosing myself with Asperger's syndrome with that anxiety levels and everything else, with the panic attacks and everything else, all this trauma that I was going through, basically of my 8 years of abuse, basically depression hit in again, the emotional and physical. Sometime in my life while I was trying to mind my own business, even though with that Dear Letter series, if you've been following me right from the word let go of the Dear Depression and Dear Anxiety, basically it also came to me in my teens, basically when I've been doing my homework and trying to basically do what I had to do. Like I said, basically, you know, there were many different forms of depression attacking me, regardless what it was, as well as my anxiety and everything else that came with it, sort of thing. I knew for the facts, though, despite the avoidance and denial all the time, you know, my parents were trying their hardest to reach out to me in my darkest moments, as well as a couple of my friends back in high school, or one of them as such, basically, which I haven't heard from him for a while, but I won't disclose his name. But to me, I was always there for, I've always been there for others, and I felt at that time, you know, being a people person as I am, trying to fit and blend in, you know, I felt that no one wanted me. I just felt all alone. I've just felt like, you know, I've neglected by certain people. Many people may have acted that they were basically there for me when I needed them, but then again, it was like, as I said to myself, you know, after those, like in the last few years of my traumatic experience of what I've been through, basically it's being able to hopefully not keep putting my walls of defense up, basically, even though, yes, I can be too honest, too real, too trustworthy on my part, basically, to basically let in people, and then they break my trust and confidence, regardless what it may be. I knew I was different, obviously, from the word let go, especially, you know, when I felt something wasn't right, especially when depression and anxiety and all the like came in to visit me. Now and again, I would have rebelled towards my friends and family, as well as being emotional at the time, an emotional wreck. Part of me felt that, you know, there was no refuge for me, just to close behind doors, maybe do my own thing, scream, throw things around, be my own self, if you will, if you want to call it that. It's like, after having this depression, I felt basically, as I said in one of my videos, I was hidden under a mask, basically, to a point where I was choking, and basically, you know, feel like inside of me, it was a dark and ugly place for me, you know. Sometimes back then, though, I didn't know what I was doing. It wasn't my intentions to actually hurt anyone in the process, of my family, friends, or even people I felt so close to at that time. Yet I try to find ways to cope like anyone would, basically. Yes, okay, I'll admit, basically, I did actually try to attempt suicide about 3 or 4 times, even though, like, my mum, even though I shouldn't bring her into this, but she tried to stop me twice, even though she may not have remembered this part about it in my lifetime. Even though, yes, my mum knows sometimes I am stubborn, I don't ask for help, no, and again, I try to take things on my own accord by basically seeing if I can, you know, fix things when I can fix things, and basically hopefully let things go if I have to. But in that time frame, it was the dark place for me, because obviously, you know, everything I felt was slipping away between my fingers that I was holding on to, regardless what it may be. You know, I used to push people away, regardless of my stubbornness, denial, and all that, of this depression that kept on coming to haunt and taunt me. Basically, I wouldn't let people in now and again, so my walls of defense was up, basically, and I just try to pretend everything was okay when in reality it wasn't, even though I couldn't lie to a few people that may have came into my circle that I invited in, basically, because they knew me too well, even though, you know, it was hard, put it that way, like anybody would agree with me. In our lives, wherever we are at, it can be hard, but it's just depending on how we go through it. Another thing was, at the time, yeah, I did self-harm, as I said. I pretty much, in my way of self-harming, I pretty much, you know, tried my hardest not to, you know, what they call it, use the knife and stab myself, but those 2 attempts that Mum stopped me in the tracks. But something obviously pulled, as she was trying to, you know, stop me, something was trying to, you know, stop me as well. So I felt like someone was watching over me at that time. I did everything in my willpower to get rid of the anxiety and panic attacks and whatever else, but it's still with me today with this, you know, clinical diagnosis of this, you know. Sometimes also, as we know, self-harm can be a form of punishment, a form of basically getting rid of pain or sometimes some people say to me, self-harm in a way of cutting is not basically attention seeking, it's a cry for help in their own way. Basically, many people may not agree with me with that, but that's fine. In my late teens to early 20s, it escalated to suicidal thoughts at the time, and as well as I shared my psychotic episodes, even though my psychotic episodes also developed in my early teens at the tender age of 12, 13. Bear with me. While self-harm in early terms, I thought was coping mechanism in my own way, be it, wanting to thump myself, bang my head and everything, scream, kick, howl, and whatever, with my meltdowns and everything. I would say this as a clear reminder: I don't condone anyone to do self-harm. This is not a way to go. I strongly advise to seek medical professional help when and if you feel the need and has to. Reach out to others in whom you can trust. There's more support and awareness than you realise out there than ever before. Okay, back to my story there were times when I was down that I thought of ways to cope, and I'm glad with the choices I made that I am still here today, regardless, not wanting to be a statistic, a number, and the like. I'm here today as a survivor to share my life stories and experiences to give you hope and peace along the way with comfort and support. Basically, if I'm not here now, regardless of what I've been through in my life, it's like I questioned myself, at that time, what did stop me? How did it stop me? I felt certain, presence on me. I've now learned different coping mechanisms when it arises of certain things, be it my depression, anxiety, and the works, and how to look after myself better. I've learned that loving myself wasn't easy at first because obviously I just shared basically the fear of rejection, fear of acceptance, and everything else, basically, of everyone around me, basically, especially through my traumatic experience that I went through of my 8 years of mental physical abuse. I knew it doesn't cost a thing, basically, of this, learning to love myself. Everything that could or would have went wrong, I kept blaming myself, though, regardless where my, depression levels were taking me at that time. Until now, I realise everything happens for a reason, a time, and a season, and allows. I've learned that in our life, there are life lessons along the line. The life lessons are our teachers, basically. And basically with these life lessons, there are lessons in life. I know that everyone's journey is different, so why should we race ahead to the finish line before anyone else? Our life should be enjoyed regardless what it may be, We're the creators, stories of our, of our life and journey. We need to know what happened in the past can stay in the past. Shouldn't dwell on it, however. Live for the moment, evaluate and see what you think you can and may change your life, however. Like that quote, basically, what's it? God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I can change, courage for the things I can't change, and wisdom to know the difference. Basically, what this means is, before I carry on, is here in the first two lines of it is obviously the serenity as a prayer of peace. To accept what it can't be altered in oneself is the word serenity. The third line is a request of fortitude to overcome which is possible to achieve or overcome. That's the word courage. And the last final line is a prayer for discernment. To know when to accept a situation or when to challenge that situation, which is the word wisdom. Right, back onto the story is basically how I coped was turn off any electrical devices that will interrupt my day and to put on some meditation music, write my thoughts in my journal, or even video vlogging. These are a few tips along the way to hopefully maybe give you a few encouragement here and there so that you not feel left out. Maybe do some I statements. I did. I am beautiful. I am important. I am smart. I am alive. I am loved. I am forgiven. Back to the story though, however, of my life's journey was I knew my parents loved me, yet I felt in my heart, regardless of the times of my everyday stages of my depression, wherever it came from in my life, it stemmed from. Basically, I knew I was, I felt like others didn't like me for who I was, being that little black sheep, you know, in the amongst it all. Also, I felt like some days I was in a black hole. Some days I felt like during my days of depression, my little black dog will keep following me, even though it still does to this day during my times of my life with depression. Yes, I'm like anyone. I started doubting and second guessing everything in my life, regardless what it was. You know, I felt that no one loved me and cared for me at that time because I was beating myself up, regardless of that traumatic experience of what I went through, basically of the life threats and stuff, you know, and whatnot, of what I went through in my life of this abuse. But I'm not sure to share that story at this moment of time. I was at that time beating myself up so much to the core, basically, and tearing myself down by, you know, negativity, self-doubt and whatnot, and also the bitterness about me and my life, where it was heading at that time when things were going wrong. I always questioned myself and challenged everything, as well as trying to fix certain situations. As many people know, when something goes wrong, I try to fix it there and then if and when I can, and if I can't do it, I'm trying to now learn to just let it be. You know, depending on the everyday situations, however. There was a time in my life at the time and place where I was trying to fix and blend in, as I said, trying to gain acceptance from everyone, along with pleasing everyone. One time in my life, I felt out of place, although when I felt useless, unaccepted, unwanted, and the like. In that moment, I realised that something had to change, and that was my attitude and thinking and behaviour towards others, especially the thinking and attitude towards and about me. No one can change me but me. I had to make that choice for myself, obviously, like we all have to. You know, I had that choice, or just to keep self-destructing myself with the everyday cycles of those depressions that came and visited me, along with my anxiety, fear, guilt, along with suicidal thoughts. That's when I decided to change my attitude and thoughts by teaching myself and learning how to self-love, forgiving myself, and being patient towards my self-healing stages where I was going. I learned to try not to worry about what others may say or think about me, as their opinions shouldn't matter. It's what and how I think about me that should really matter. I always at the time holding on to the past due to the rejection, abuse, and traumas that I went through in my life at that time. The coping mechanisms I've learned and am starting to learn, I'm trying to put into practice today, are as follows, and I'm hoping to actually share this with you all for steps in coping while you are depressed or in that depression stages is 1. Reduce any stress and everyday pressures. This will be depending on everyone's days and moods, you know, of any schedule that we have going on. Sometimes it can be so full on one day that we think it's got to be overwhelming us to the point that we can't do anything. So take baby steps, maybe just cancel off certain things, you know, that you think is not important, and leave it for another day so that maybe you can actually recharge and do your batteries. Sometimes you are allowed to choose to cancel these, you know, everyday schedules that you have and just focus on your self-healing, you know, basically, and also basically just to get into something by maybe self-care for yourself, basically on maybe listening to music, dance around in the home, do some cleaning, meditation, listening to music. The more the merrier, you know, for just doing something for you for a change instead of making something for others. Excuse me. Number 2, reach out more for help. Yes, I know, like I said before, I've been trying my hardest to reach out more to people. I am now trying to trust people around me and open up more and let them in so they know what is going on, even though it was hard at first. When I'm down or afraid, I would have loved a hug or comfort by someone just to tell me, and knowing that they're there for me and support me, tell me that, you know, I'm not alone, I'm there for you, I care for you. Is there anything I can do for you today, Karen, just to relieve you off your mindset of what you're going through? This is important to me, basically, because, you know, especially maybe for the ones that are clinically depressed, you know, basically, so that they know that they're loved, wanted, and know that they're feeling accepted by those other people. But as I've learnt also, no matter where I am at in my stage of depression or in my life journey, regardless of my depression, Asperger's syndrome, and everything else I've shared so far, there are people to help me, guide me through this, and to be patient in my self-healing and recovery. I know it's going to be taking a while for some parts of myself recovery and all that, but it's good to know that you're important and loved. Number 3, accept what I can't change and work on what I can change. Again, that's by choice. Obviously, as I said in that Serenity period, basically, this is how it is right now. I'm trying to focus on what I can change about maybe myself and some of the situations that I may be facing, some of the situations I know that I face every day based on my depression and, everyday encounter ships. It can be really, really hard. Number 4, set goals. Remove the self-doubts, negativity about myself and even yourselves, maybe, and learn to be kind to yourselves, to become a better person. We are a better person in ourselves, regardless of what many people may think that we're a bad person, and it's up to us to change our ways, to not prove to others that we've changed, but maybe to ourselves that we can do anything. Number 5, learn about our everyday conditions, regardless of what it is. Sometimes motivation and self-help books, learning every day can be good, even though I've been doing my homework right now by the internet and stuff, even though I don't have many self-help books around me right now. Basically, also, I've learned this is not gaining attention or anything, not getting anything in return, just to be humble on myself and actually, know that I'm more than enough. Last but not least, I thought to myself is to forgive myself. When I first started to learn this, that it's not my fault having these disorders I've mentioned and shared with you all. Some of these are chemical imbalances and some stems from past traumas in my life as well as your lives, as well as, any psychological and environmental factors. Self-hate, bitterness, guilt and shame comes in after depression kicks in, and that we need to learn to let go of whatever it was that we were holding, that is holding us back maybe. And learn to take little baby steps forward and to believe in ourselves. Forgiveness in myself and my actions while taking accountability along with maturity and responsibility can go a long way. Learn that it is just a label. I'm learning that now, even though regardless of what I said in my previous videos, I'm learning that it's now a label and it's not who I am. I've learned to love myself, accept myself for me with the flaws and imperfections I have. Even though I know there's many people in my circle that may not want to accept me for who I am with my flaws and imperfections, but that's fine. We are a lovable person. We can fight a fight that we can overcome depression and other mental disorders. Life is a journey to be accepted, and that you're capable of creating and writing your journey. Do what's best for you, however. Basically, you're not alone and you can get the help you need. So basically, that is my mental health, self-love part of my series of it. Please give me a like, for thumbs up for support. Comment below maybe your stories of how you go about, coping with your everyday situation with depression and every other mental health disorders I have addressed so far in the pieces. Basically, feel free to private message me on AspieAnswersAll on Facebook, or follow me on Twitter. Subscribe to my channel for daily, weekly blogs, basically to know what I'm up to, basically, on my life story. Share these videos around also to family and friends that you feel to share around, to hopefully maybe give them an encouragement and support, or maybe some educational bits and pieces of information of what I've learnt or what have you, because it's all about, connecting one way or another. So once again, guys, thanks for your support, thanks for watching, love what you do what you love, take care of yourself, love yourself, forgive yourself if you have to, don't be too hard on yourself. Try and, be good to others. Obviously, you never know what other people may be going through regardless. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you all again soon.